Have you ever had one of those mornings where you do everything right? You get up early, make your breakfast, sit down with your coffee, and yet by 10 a.m., you feel like someone pulled the plug on your energy. You're sitting there thinking, how am I already this tired? And you still have the whole day ahead of you. It's a frustrating feeling, and if you're anywhere between 40 and 60, chances are it's starting to happen more often than you'd like to admit. And here's the truth most people don't talk about. Your breakfast could be secretly draining you, not because you're skipping it, but because of what's on your plate. When we're younger, our metabolism is a little more forgiving. A sugary pastry, a giant bowl of cereal, a quick donut on the way to work. It might not have made much of a dent back then, but as we move into midlife and beyond, our body's ability to handle certain foods first thing in the morning changes dramatically. And it's not just about weight or blood sugar. It's about how these foods can hijack your entire energy curve for the day, leaving you sluggish, moody, foggy, and wondering what's wrong. So today we're peeling back the curtain on the 7 biggest energy drainers hiding in plain sight at breakfast, and what you can start doing differently to actually feel good. Again, and I want you to know this isn't about guilt or restriction, it's about empowerment, about noticing what your body's been quietly trying to tell you, and giving yourself permission to choose something that fuels you instead of fighting you. Let's start with one of the sneakiest culprits that so many people think is healthy. Those so-called healthy breakfast cereals. You know the ones. The box has a picture of a smiling family or a field of wheat. Maybe it even says high fiber or whole grain in big friendly letters. But if you turn the box over and actually read the ingredients, what you'll usually find is a parade of added sugars, artificial flavors, and refined grains that hit your bloodstream like a sugar bomb. It's like throwing gasoline on a campfire at 7 a.m. You get a big blast of energy, sure, but it burns out just as fast, leaving you crashing by mid-morning. And every time you do that, you're training your body to chase quick energy instead of building steady, sustainable strength. Here's the quiet fix. If you're going to do cereal, look for one with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving. Even better, consider swapping to steel-cut oats, a little Greek yogurt with seeds and berries, or a simple boiled egg with a slice of avocado toast. Things that give you slow release energy instead of setting you up for a crash. And while we're talking about morning habits that backfire, we need to mention another one that so many people slide into without thinking: reaching for a glass of juice. Orange juice, apple juice, even green juices loaded with fruits. They sound healthy, don't they? They even feel healthy, fresh, vibrant, a shot of vitamins to start the day. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Juice is basically sugar water with a little bit of vitamin C sprinkled in. When you strip fruit down to just its juice, you lose all the fiber that slows down absorption. You're left with a huge spike in blood sugar, and then the inevitable crash that follows. Not exactly the powerhouse start your body was hoping for after a night of fasting. If you love the idea of something fresh and fruity, try eating the whole fruit instead. An orange, peeled and savored, gives you that same sweet brightness, with the fiber that keeps your blood sugar stable and your energy steady. These tiny shifts might seem small in the moment, but they build on each other, creating a new kind of momentum. A morning that leaves you feeling clear instead of cloudy, strong instead of shaky. And honestly, isn't that the kind of morning we all deserve by now? There's something about mornings that makes it so easy to slip into old habits without questioning them. You pour your coffee, grab whatever's easy, and before you know it, you're running on fumes by lunchtime, wondering if you're just getting older or if maybe, just maybe, something in that routine isn't serving you anymore. The next quiet energy thief we need to talk about is something you might be reaching for without even thinking about it. White bread. Toasted, buttered, maybe even topped with a little jam or honey. It feels cozy, familiar, like it's just part of a good morning. But the problem with white bread is that it's almost entirely made of refined carbohydrates. That means it digests extremely fast, causing a sharp rise and fall in your blood sugar. And when that fall hits, you don't just get tired. You get irritable, unfocused, maybe even a little sad without knowing why. It's not your fault, it's chemistry. What's better? Look for breads labeled 100% whole grain or sprouted grain instead. They take longer to digest, meaning you get more time with steady energy, rather than a sugar roller coaster that leaves you worn out by noon. And if you're thinking, but it's just toast, how bad can it be? Remember, breakfast sets the tone for the entire day. It's like setting a thermostat. Start steady, and your energy holds strong. Start spiking and crashing, and your body spends the whole day trying to catch up. Speaking of cozy breakfast habits that sneak up on us, let's talk about flavored yogurts. Now, yogurt itself can be a fantastic choice. Protein-packed, probiotic-rich, gentle on digestion. But the flavored ones, especially the fruit on the bottom, types or anything with vanilla or honey in the title, they're often packed with more sugar than a candy bar. No joke. It's one of those marketing tricks that feels especially unfair because it's hiding under the label of healthy. But here's the reality. When you start your morning with a sugar bomb, even if it's hiding in yogurt, it can trigger a cycle of cravings, crashes, and afternoon slumps that are hard to shake. Instead, go for plain Greek yogurt and sweeten it naturally if you want. With a handful of berries, a few crushed nuts, maybe a drizzle of real honey if you're craving a touch of sweetness. That way, you get the energy you're hoping for, without the invisible baggage that pulls you down later. All of this brings us to one of the biggest quiet mistakes that drains energy after 60. Skipping protein entirely at breakfast. Maybe you're not super hungry in the morning. Maybe you're rushing. Maybe you just love the idea of a light start to the day.
I get it. But here's what doctors and nutritionists see all the time. When breakfast is nothing but carbs, whether it's toast, fruit, or cereal, you miss the opportunity to anchor your energy with the fuel your muscles and brain actually need.
Protein isn't just about building muscle. It's about blood sugar control. It's about keeping your mood stable. It's about giving your body the building blocks it needs to heal, move, and stay strong. Without it, everything feels harder. Moving, thinking, staying optimistic about the day ahead. You don't need a steak at sunrise. You just need a little something. An egg, a small handful of nuts, a scoop of protein powder in your smoothie, a piece of smoked salmon on your toast. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be present. And once you start feeling the difference, that steady, clear, no-crash energy flowing through your mornings, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. There's a funny thing that happens when you finally start feeling steady, energized mornings. You get really good at spotting the habits that used to trip you up. And one of the biggest culprits hiding in plain sight? Breakfast cereals. Now, I'm not just talking about the brightly colored boxes with cartoon characters on them. Even the adult cereals, the ones that promise to help your heart or claim to be whole grain, often sneak in more sugar than you realize. Sometimes they're practically dessert disguised as breakfast. And here's the problem. Even cereals that seem healthy can spike your blood sugar, leaving you drained and sluggish an hour or two later. A big part of that comes down to processing. The grains have been ground down so finely that your body digests them almost instantly, meaning a fast energy surge and an even faster crash. If you love a crunchy, satisfying bowl in the morning, you don't have to give it up completely. Just swap it for something that loves you back. Think simple, real ingredients. Unsweetened oatmeal topped with nuts and a few berries. Or a sprinkle of granola over Greek yogurt, not a giant bowlful. Every small shift is a vote for your own energy, your own joy, your own momentum. Now let's wander into another sneaky habit that quietly drains you more than you might expect. Those fancy, colorful smoothies. You know the ones sold in the health food section labeled natural, vitamin-packed, maybe even energizing. But if you turn the bottle around and read the label, what you'll often find is sugar, and lots of it. Even if it's natural, sugar from fruit, it still causes that familiar spike and crash that leaves you nodding off by mid-morning. The worst part? Because the sugar is in liquid form, it hits your bloodstream even faster than a bowl of cereal or a slice of white bread. So what's the fix? Make your own smoothies, or choose brands that list simple, whole ingredients without a ton of added sugar. Think spinach, cucumber, half a banana, protein powder, a spoonful of nut butter. Build it with balance and you'll sip energy instead of exhaustion. It's such a small thing, but the small things add up. They always do. Let's stay with that thought for a second. Because when you feel yourself dragging day after day, it's easy to blame age. It's easy to say, well, this is just how it is now. But most of the time it's not age, it's accumulation. Tiny choices quietly draining your reserves morning after morning. And once you know better, once you start choosing differently, even just one swap at a time, you start remembering something powerful. You're not powerless. Your mornings can feel different. You can wake up without that fog behind your eyes. You can move through the day with a steadier heart, a lighter spirit. And it starts with noticing, with paying attention to the habits that wear you down, and daring to believe you deserve more than just getting through another day. Let's keep following that thread, because once you start tuning in, you notice even more of the quiet thieves of your energy. And one of the biggest ones, believe it or not, is that innocent-looking cup of light or low-fat yogurt. You grab it because it seems healthy, right? Quick, easy, packed with probiotics, maybe even advertised as being for active lifestyles. But hidden in many of these little containers is a sugar bomb bigger than most candy bars. Here's the thing. When food manufacturers strip fat out of yogurt, they usually have to add something back in to make it taste good. And 9 times out of 10, that something is sugar, or worse, artificial sweeteners that confuse your body even more. So instead of steady fuel, you get that all too familiar crash. And sometimes your appetite goes haywire too, making you crave even more sugar later in the day. If you love yogurt, and a lot of people do, the simple tweak is this: go full fat and unsweetened. Add your own touch of sweetness with real fruit, or a drizzle of honey if you need it. A handful of nuts on top brings the balance your body craves. It feels different, it tastes better, and most importantly, it fuels you instead of fooling you. And while we're talking about breakfast choices that seem harmless but backfire, we've got to bring up pastries. That croissant, that donut, that muffin the size of your head. They whisper comfort. They remind you of slow, sunny mornings when life didn't rush you. But inside, they're the perfect recipe for a blood sugar roller coaster. Fast carbs, almost no fiber, almost no protein, very little real fuel. It's not about never having a treat. Life needs treats. It's about when you have them and how you build your foundation. Save the croissant for a leisurely brunch once in a while, when you can balance it with protein and fresh fruit, and give your regular mornings the breakfast they deserve. Something that tells your body, I'm here for you. Let's move through this day strong. Because when you feed your mornings well, your whole day changes. Your energy levels feel steadier. Your focus sharpens. Your emotions even ride smoother waves. And one last quiet saboteur before we bring it all together. Black coffee on an empty stomach, I know. I can hear the collective gasp. Coffee feels like survival, especially when life is busy and mornings feel tight. But sipping straight coffee first thing, especially without a bite of real food, can jolt your system hard. It triggers a surge of cortisol, your stress hormone, which can make you feel wired for a little while, but drained, anxious, and even hungrier later. The fix isn't giving up coffee, it's pairing it with a little something solid. Half a dough, banana, a boiled egg, a slice of whole grain toast with peanut butter. Something to anchor your system before the caffeine rushes in. Because energy isn't about shortcuts. It's about setting your body up to win from the moment you open your eyes. Let's breathe together for a moment. Deep breath in. Hold it gently. And exhale. That simple rhythm, taking care of yourself on purpose, is the foundation for every vibrant, joyful, meaningful thing you're still dreaming about. And it's all still within reach. And here's where it all threads together. Because what you eat at breakfast isn't just about energy for a few hours. It's about shaping the kind of day you're going to have, and the kind of life you're building, one choice at a time. After 60, your body's feedback gets a little quieter in some ways and a little louder in others. You might not feel the same jolt from skipping breakfast like you did at 30, but the toll shows up differently. A little more brain fog, a little more stiffness, a little more dragging through the afternoon. The good news is you don't need to overhaul everything overnight. You don't need to memorize complicated nutrition charts or ban every comfort food from your table. You just need to recognize the small shifts that move you towards strength, vitality, and ease. It's about swapping the sugar-loaded cereals for oatmeal with cinnamon and berries. It's about trading that lonely cup of black coffee for coffee, plus a slice of avocado toast. It's about noticing when easy foods actually make life harder in the long run, and choosing something that gives back instead of taking away. And if you slip up, if you grab the donut at the office or skip breakfast on a rushed morning, you're still doing better than you think, because now you're aware. Now you're choosing on purpose. And that awareness changes everything. You deserve mornings that lift you up. You deserve days that don't feel like a fight against your own energy. You deserve a body and a mind that feel like allies, not obstacles. Because the truth is, breakfast is a vote you cast for your future self. Every time you fuel your body with something real, something colorful, something nourishing, you're sending a message that says, I'm still investing in my own story. And what a powerful story it can be. Imagine waking up a year from now feeling lighter in your spirit, stronger in your step, clearer in your mind. Imagine catching yourself smiling for no reason, just because your body feels good moving through the world. That's not a fantasy. It's biology. It's habit. It's you, showing up for yourself again and again in small ways that add up bigger than you can see in the moment. So today, maybe it's one swap, one better choice, one deep breath before you reach for the usual. And tomorrow, maybe it's two. There's no deadline. There's no finish line. There's just today and the chance to nourish the person you're still becoming. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below. What's one small breakfast shift you want to try? Share your ideas, your wins, your struggles. We're in this together. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more simple ways to feel stronger, sharper, and more alive at every age. Here's to mornings that don't just wake you up. They lift you up. You deserve nothing less.